Good morning. Thank you for coming today. We're the Air Force Cool program. First and foremost, let me ask you, who likes free money? Yeah? Deal with some free money? What if I tell you that the Air Force has a program now that will allow you to get civilian industry recognized credentials and licensures, and on top of that we'll pay for your study materials, your coursework, your prep course, your recertification fees, your exams, and by some chance after all of that you happen to fail, you're not required to pay the program back. Welcome to Air Force Cool. Thank you. We appreciate that. First and foremost, we wanted to show everybody where we're heading on this road show. Right now, we are here at beautiful ALTUS Air Force Base, Oklahoma. We'll be heading to Tinker this afternoon, do a show there tomorrow, and we'll finish up at Little Rock on Friday. So as you see, it's a very busy and compact schedule, but we are ready and willing, and we're here for you. I'm Russell Graham, the director of the Air Force Cool program at Maxwell Air Force Base, Gunner Annex. With me today is Mr. Benito Perez. He's our program manager. Tech Sergeant Justin Sherman. He's here on behalf of the A&P program and credentialing. You see, we have a team of 5 that run this program for the entire United States Air Force. That's a pretty big responsibility, but I'll tell you, our process is a lot faster than just about anyone else's you'll find, and we'll show you that here in just a moment. So, the Air Force Cool program was originally designed to be a transition tool. Well, we sat down and thought about that and said, wait a minute, let's make this a resource that we can utilize all across the board. Who here had to have mom and dad sign for them when they joined the military? Might have been a little young. Mom and dad might have been on the fence saying, well, I really don't know about you guys putting my child in the military. You guys got some pretty funny haircuts and you're going to send my child to some pretty weird places. I just don't know about this. Well, that recruiter can now take that brochure that you have when you walked in the door and give it to mom and dad and say, well, not only are we going to set your child up for a wonderful Air Force career, but we're also going to allow them to obtain civilian industry recognized credentials and licensures, and make it even better, we're going to pay for it on their behalf and not a penny has to come out of their pocket. Sound good so far? Professionalization of the workforce. We know that in the military we're trained to do things one way. Get the mission done, win the war. That's what we're trained to do. However, these civilian industry credentials and licensures give us the opportunity to think outside the box. So when we're sitting in the middle of Iraq or Afghanistan or Africa and we've got this problem that's popped up, and now we need to realize another way to think about it, that person with this outside credential or licensure can step in and say, hey, maybe there's another way that we can look at this. Let's think about this way, and maybe that might work for that situation. Retention. We know that our numbers are being drawn down every day, especially seeing that we're coming into a peacetime era of our force. So we know that the old motto, do more with less, is becoming more and more prevalent every day. Well, why do we need to do more with less when we can employ the less to have more capabilities, giving them the licensures and credentials that they need to think far above their peers in the civilian industry? And of course, transition. Eventually, one day, we're all going to have to make that transition. Who here believes that they're going to be able to stay in the military for the rest of their life? Well, I've got 1, 2 participants, but for the rest of us, we're going to have to make that transition one day. So what are we going to do when we make that transition? When we come up to that job employer and they're looking at our resume and they say, well, we see that you served in the military for, say, 20 years. You have a CCAF degree, a bachelor's degree, maybe even a master's degree, but what separates each and every one of you from every other person that's sitting in here right now? Well, we want you to be able to step out and say, well, not only have I served my country for 20 years, and yes, I do have a CCAF degree that I'm quite proud of, my bachelor's degree and a master's degree to go along with it, but I also have the civilian industry recognized credentials and licensures that you're looking for, and to make it even better, you don't have to pay for it because the Air Force has already done that on my behalf. Let's take that a step further. Here within the next couple of weeks, the Air Force is going to be releasing an Air Force Guidance Memorandum that's going to introduce a new program that was brought on by DoD called SkillBridge. What does SkillBridge do? It's going to allow your commanders the opportunity at your 180-day mark before you separate or retire to release you from your duty section to be able to do an internship with a company that's within 50 miles of the base. And for that company to be able to give you the opportunity to do that internship, they have to, one, offer you a position. That way, when you get done with the transition point, you can possibly get that job. And two, they have to assign you a mentor that's going to teach you the culture of that company so that when you complete that 180-day transition, you fit right into that company's brand. Sound good? Yeah? All right, so we've got the transition part of that covered. So why has it been so hard for our military members to transition? Well, who here thinks the number 966 million is a beautiful number? That's a good number to have, right? Unless you're talking about the unemployment that was paid to veterans last year alone. $966 million. Why are our veterans being paid so much in unemployment? Why is that going out like that? Well, you think that most veterans, when they separate from the military and have all this job experience, that they're able to just transition and walk into a job making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 starting out, right? The average veteran leaves the service and makes $30,000 per year if they get employed. That's McDonald's, ladies and gentlemen. Why is this? Well, 60% of employers say that the reason why they don't hire military members when they transition, because they just don't understand what it is that we do. Who here has written a resume before? Pretty fun to write, right? Well, you take that resume and we take our 1206s and we take our EPRs, and we've got all these fancy words and all this jargon that we utilize on it, and we put those items onto that resume. We're like, I have got this in the bag. There is no way these people are not going to hire me. You take that resume in, you give it to an employer, that employer says, wow, I have no clue what you did. They don't understand a single thing what we did. Why? Because we're not speaking their language. We're not saying the things that they're used to hearing on the civilian side. We're used to speaking the language that we know in the military. So the two sides aren't speaking. So our veterans aren't getting employed. So let's fix that problem. How are we going to fix it? We're going to add Air Force Cool into every step of the military life cycle. We're going to start from when that recruiter comes in the door to talk to mom and dad, all the way through your professional military education. Who here has tested recently for promotion? You seen the PDG? You seen Air Force Cool in the PDG? It's there. The little brown book, probably going to be rewritten pretty soon here. Guess what's going to be in there? Credentialing and licensures. Why? Because this is the way forward that we need to be looking, ladies and gentlemen. Today, having a bachelor's degree, having maybe even a master's degree, that's become the norm. Before, everyone was just expected to have a high school diploma. Bachelor's and master's degrees were the things that not too many people got. Now you have members walking in the door to the Air Force with these degrees in hand. So we need something that's going to separate everyone out. So, who's eligible for the Air Force Cool program? Who's enlisted in the room? You are eligible for Air Force Cool. Congratulations. Matter of fact, the Air Force Cool program was bought online as an enlisted resource because we saw that the higher number of veterans that were unemployed were coming from the side of the Air Force on the enlisted side, not the officer side. Because many of our officers had those degrees and had those connections that helped them get a job when they decided to transition. Now, does this mean the Air Force Cool program is going to stay enlisted forever? Possibly not. We're looking at other avenues to include our civilian counterparts to help them get civilian industry credentials and licensures. But for right now, it's an enlisted-based program. The program is going to give you a $4,500 lifetime cap. Now, who remembers when your credentialing program from the MilTA side gave you $9,000 to get anything and everything you wanted in credentials? We had people getting credentials in underwater basket weaving. We had some real estate license. We had some small engine mechanics, but what was that doing for the member? If I had a senior airman come into the office and they got a credential and real estate license, and then they decided to stay in the Air Force for an additional 17 years, how does that license help them? They can't practice it right now. So they've gone and spent credentialing money that they cannot utilize. So the Air Force said, well, we need to go and we need to kind of bring this in a little bit. We're going to drop this down to $4,500. We're going to put a cap on it. That way we can make sure that we're watching the money where it's going. On top of that, we're going to link this to your primary 5 skill level AFSC. Well, that kind of makes sense with this skill bridge program that's coming on board, because now you've got your 5 skill level where you're eligible to participate in the program. You go get a certification or licensure. You maintain that certification or licensure. Now you can utilize skill bridge to go do an internship to get yourself a job when you separate from the military. It's all in that life cycle. It all works together. So what's the Air Force School Program going to pay for? Well, as of right now, many of you may think, well, I heard that the program only covers 1 credential, and for E7s and above, you can get 1 leadership and management. Boy, have things changed. We had the opportunity to take a field trip up to DC, and we went and stood on a couple of people's desks and were politely asked to get off their desk. But then when we came back home, we had some great changes for the Air Force School Program. One of which was you're going to be able to use that $4,500 cap to get unlimited credentials and licensures. On top of that, we're going to pay for your study materials, your coursework, your prep courses, the recertification fees, your exams. We're going to pay for it. That way nothing has to come out of your pocket. That's the intent. Most recertifications are every 3 to 5 years. As long as you're on active duty, we're going to cover that for you as well. So, what are some of the qualifications for the Air Force School Program? Well, just like I mentioned before, you got to have your 5 skill level in your primary AFSC. Got to have a passing PT score. Got to make sure you're fit to fight. No control rosters or UIFs. No referral EPRs. You have to be enlisted on Title 10 or Title 32 502F active duty orders. That's for my Guard and Reserve members in the room, because, hey, you have to be on active status to participate in the program right now. Will that change? Possibly, but as of right now, that's the standard. And of course, you have to complete the credential or licensure while you're on active duty status. Here's a couple of the top credentials that the Air Force School Program offers. You see that beautiful number over there in red, 767 plus on any given day. Because it's a living program, it's a living site, we're constantly adding new credentials in, we're filtering old credentials out, we're adding new things, but on an average, the number stays around 767. There's over 1,800 different credentials and licensures on the site. However, some of those say GI Bill eligible, but we tell members, be cautious about using your GI Bill. You go and get a $250 certification that takes you 1 day to test, and you use your GI Bill for it, you're going to eliminate 30 days of your GI Bill eligibility. So we encourage you to use your Air Force School credentials first. So, here's some cool accomplishments, no pun intended. In FY15, the Air Force School Program started making payments in March. For the total year of FY15, we spent about $150,000 on credentials and licensures. This stat is as of Friday of last week. We've already spent over $500,000 on credentials and licensures in FY16 so far. Question is, why would any of you leave $4,500 of free money sitting on the table? We have about a 92% student pass rate with the program right now. Over 30 leadership and management credentials that we offer on the site for our E7s and above. As a matter of fact, if you're in a special duty or you have an AFSC that does not have credentials listed for it, then you can go out to the site, you can pick one of the leadership and managements as long as you meet the eligibility, and you can pursue one of those credentials or goals until there's credentials for your AFSC. There's top goals that you have there again. Airframe power plant certified manager, PMP, SISP, PHR. See those top bases down there? We're challenging every base that we go to on this roadshow to knock them off the top. Our plan is at the end of the year to do another publication in the Air Force Sergeants Association magazine. We'd like to go out there and put the top base in the United States Air Force that knocked one of those off. Maybe it could be ALTUS. And you see that we have about 89% of our participants in the program are between the grades of E4 and E7. It's our target audience here in the room today. So we're speaking directly to you. Go use your cool dollars. So how's this process work? I was telling you a little while ago that we could do this process pretty fast, and I'd explain it to you in a minute. Well, I took a couple extra minutes, but I'm going to explain it to you now. Here's how that process goes. One, you're going to go out there to the Air Force School site. You're going to find the credential that you're interested in. You're going to make it your educational goal. Two, it's going to go over to your supervisor, and your supervisor is going to approve it. Three, during this time, you should be going out and looking at the credentialing agency site and making sure that you have all the funding amounts, the study material, the prep course, the books, all that information together, where they're testing at, so you can go and do your funding request. Four, that funding request is going to come to the Air Force School office along with any supporting documentation that you needed to upload on your behalf. We're going to look over everything, make sure it all pans out. If you're good to go, we're going to send it to our purchasing agents. Now, most of the time you realize that your purchasing agent is at another building, another base, another MAGCOM. They can be kind of away from you, and it can take a little while to get that done. Our purchasing agents sit maybe about this far away from us. So when we hit click that it's good to go, it goes directly to the purchasing agent. The purchasing agent reaches out, calls the company, picks up their credit card, pays for the credential and licensure right there, shoots you an email. Step 5, you go take the exam. Send us your grades. Step 6, we close out the grades. Pass or fail, we close it out and allow you to go take another credential and send you an end-of-course survey. Now, notice I said pass or fail, we want your grades. Well, remember with the meal TA side, if you took a course and you failed it, you've got to pay that money back. Some of these credentials are quite expensive. The Air Force School program, you're not required to pay that money back. So the next couple slides, we're going to run you through and show you through what it would look like going through the site to get registered and do an Air Force School goal. First thing you want to do is make sure that you're logged in. You laugh, but you wouldn't realize how many phone calls that we get where individuals go and they call us and they're like, hey, I don't see where it says to make this my educational goal. And we ask them, are you logged in? Oh, I didn't know I had to be logged in. Why, yes, you do. Make sure you're logged into the site. Second, you're going to see up there at the top where it says Air Force School. You'll click that right there. Next, it'll bring you to the Air Force School homepage. You'll see that you have at the top, how do I apply? How does School work? Resources. Excuse me. Go through each one of those, check through, make sure you understand how the program works. After you do that, click on Search AFSC Related Credentials right here. It'll come up, it'll already have your AFSC in there because you're logged in. It'll show all the credentials that you're eligible for, and all the ones that you can select will have an Air Force School eligible check mark. Now, for our E7s and above, those leadership and management credentials, there's a little box right here that you'll click. It'll revert the list to all. You'll hit search, and it'll bring up all the leadership and management credentials that you're eligible for. Now, when you look at the list for the leadership and the management, all of those are not going to have check marks, but they will have check marks right here under the leadership that show you that all of those are leadership and management credentials that you are eligible to utilize. Next, you're going to click Add Goal. Just like you do with Meal TA, you'll see this screen pop up. However, right now, it has one that says Air Force School. You'll select that. Now again, like I said, you want to make sure that you reach out to that credentialing agency after you've gone through and you've made it your educational goal, and you want to find out all the supporting documentation you need to do. If you have to fill out an application with them ahead of time, how much the study material is, how much the coursework is. find out every single bit of information. Matter of fact, help yourself out. Call that agency, ask them to send you an invoice. That way you can upload that into your supporting documentation. So you're ready to start your funding request. You'll see this beautiful screen right here pop up for you. Basically, what all this says is that you've gone through and made sure that you've done everything that you had to do for the supporting documentation. And if for some reason you're missing something, say with the airframe and power plant program, the FAA Form 8610-2, or the CCAF Certificate of Eligibility that you're able to use, if for some reason you don't have those items listed, right here it's going to tell you, hey, Air Force School is going to kick it back to you and have you go work on it and fix it. Some of you may see this red box show up on your educational goal as you're getting it started. This means you need to contact your ESO and let them know that, hey, there's training that I need to do, or I haven't been in the system for a while and it gave me the red box. Get those items situated. Once that's done, you're going to make sure the funding request line says Air Force School. Select Start Application. You go in, you'll have the credential that you already selected. It'll show up here. You'll select Goal, hit Next. It'll bring you to the screen right here. On this screen, you'll see where it says Find Exam Center. Has a blue hyperlink. Click on that link. Don't go to the bar down here and expect to be able to find your testing location. Click that hyperlink right there, and it's going to take you to the site that looks like this, that shows you on there where you can type in the name of your credentialing agency or where you're supposed to test. As you can see here, the individual typed in Baker's, and down there at the bottom, Baker School of Aeronautics pops up. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to put your testing window. Before, you could only put 30 days for testing. Now, again, that's been changed. You can put up to 120 days out for your testing window. So while you're studying and getting all that information together and you're ready to go, you know that you want to test around this time frame that's within 120 days, you can put that onto the site. Next it's going to tell you to add an exam. This exam could have 1, it could have 5, it could have 10 different tests that you have to take. Put each one in there and put the amounts for that. Say like this individual did. They had the airframe and power plant. There's 4 different exams that they're required to take. The general, the power plant, the airframe, and the NA right here is for the oral and practical. They're going to select each one of those, add the amounts right here. They'll add the exam cost and the location where they're testing, on base, off base. They'll add more if for some reason they need to add more testing sites. If not, they'll hit Next. Next, you're going to add your fees. Same way, if you have application fees, admin fees, you'll add these in here. You see where it adds those fees in there. The new item on the site allows you to add study materials. For the study materials, you're going to have three different options you can choose from. One of those is books, one of those is study materials, one of those are prep courses. You're able to select each one of those items. If you need one, just put in the one. If you need all 3, put in all 3. Put the amounts for those and keep going. You'll see here where it shows all the study material and everything put in there. Next, you're going to verify that your supervisor's information is correct. Here's a foot stomper for everyone in the room. Don't go and add your buddy in the cubicle who's sitting next to you as your supervisor. That is not the way to do this. And also, you see right here, it says that's punishable under the UCMJ. The Air Force is giving you free money. Do it the right way. Finally, the screen's going to pop up and show you everything that you put in here. They're going to Baker School of Aeronautics. Shows all the exams and course fees and everything else that they put in there. Supervisor information. They're going to hit Create. Once they create, it's going to go to the supervisor for the funding request approval. Comes back to Air Force School. We approve, send it over to the purchasing agents. They send out the payment on your behalf. You go test. The rest is history from there. Here's our contact information if for some reason you think of a question when we're done here today that hasn't already been answered for you. Also, on the back of your brochures you have there, you have all of this contact information. It also has 2 QR readers on the page. One of the QR readers will take you to the civilian site for Air Force School. The other one will take you to our Facebook page. Yes, we have a Facebook page. Please go like us on Facebook. Do I have any questions from anyone in the audience today? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You said that it would be $4,500, and then you pay for the recertifications for as long as I'm in the Air Force. I've been in the Air Force 3 years, so 15 years from now I need a recertification. I've gone over that $4,500. Are you going to cover, does the Air Force schools cover the recertification, or does it only go to the $4,500?
It'll go up to $4,500. Matter of fact, if you have $1 left in your cap, we'll pay that $1 for you. You're going to have to pay the rest, but we'll let you use that entire $4,500 cap until it's gone. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Thanks, sir. You mentioned something about covering study materials.
Yes.
Does that include like boot camps and prep courses?
You're absolutely correct. Under the prep courses option, that will cover boot camps, especially say for the A&P program where they have the boot camp to prepare you to go and take the exams, that will be covered.
Yes, sir. And a follow-up, when is that, you spoke of the guidance memorandum?
Yes.
When does that go out?
We're expected, we've been advised that it's supposed to hit the streets by the end of the month, so we're letting everyone know we're hoping by mid-May to have this completely up and running. That's why we encourage everyone to go out and like the Facebook page, because it's going to hit the Facebook page before you see it on any other media source like AFB or AFMS or anything else. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Sir, question. You said there are multiple credentials. Like, can I do all of them at the same time? Do I have to do one at a time, or is there any conflict that is going to create with this and TA?
Good question. The first part of your question with Air Force Cool, you can only do 1 credential at a time with the program. However, if you're in the process of working on your bachelor's degree per se, using MIL-TA, the 2 systems are completely separate. So you can be working on your bachelor's degree with your MIL-TA and also working on a certification with Air Force Cool at the same time. And those 2 funds never cross each other. So you have a $4,500 cap for Cool and you have your $4,500 for MIL-TA. Anyone else? Well, perfect. Thank each and every one of you for coming today. We greatly appreciate you being here. And like you said, go like us on the page. If you have any questions, give us a call. We'll be more than happy to help you. Thank you.